Hmm? Oh, apologies, I was lost in thought. Is there something you need? I suppose. What is it? What is new? While I was at the Bard's College, I bore unfortunate witness to what is undoubtedly the worst bard ever to grace the college's halls. Amusing. It was an orc who showed up one day claiming to know the words to any song we could think of. And when the headmaster Viarmo tested his knowledge, well, he certainly did say words, for the most part, but you probably could not call the manner in which he uttered them song. Is there a word for verbally jesta? I can think of no better way to describe it. I am one to talk given my singing voice, but it was excruciating. Several of the other bards burst into laughter, and the headmaster did his best to respectfully tell the orc he was impossibly bad. And of course the orc became upset and stormed out of the college, cursing every last one of us as he went. I myself was called Rohi Murimush, which I took to be an insult, though I am not familiar with Orsimer, if that even is what it was. I am so happy to hear that. But you're twice the Murimush that I could ever hope to be, my friend. And if I may say so, your Rohi is legendary. Truly, I cannot compete. Yes, my mate. Every book has its merits, if you look at it the right way. For instance, I read a short account recently of a mortally wounded Argonian, who, as he lay on his deathbed, contemplated the nature of the Draugr. The death of a wanderer, I believe. Quite short, but quite insightful. If you've ever seen any Dragon Claw keys, it is worth a read. Here, I found this the last time we were in town, and I thought you could find a use for it. I suppose. What is it? What is new? You're lucky when you met me that you did not catch me playing the flute. The bards at the college did their best to make me learn. It is a bard's place, after all, not just to learn of history, but to recite it. And song is just as much a part of history as the spoken word. I told them I do not sing, and so they urged me to choose an instrument. I indulged them, but my mouth was not nimble enough for the flute. And I wouldn't have wanted to play it anyways. The sound, it is like needles in my ears, shrill, like a distressed kitten. The lute, however, or another stringed instrument, my claws, I've been told, would be the perfect picks for the strings. Assuming, of course, that they would not cut straight through them. The lute is a much more melodious and jovial instrument than the flute as well. Not that it matters. Even if I had the desire, I have no musical talent at all, and would only embarrass myself if I were to try to learn. Not even if we were the last two people in Tamriel. You could shout me to pieces and I still would not sing for you. You do that. It is on days like this that I can almost forget the driving blizzards and unending bitter cold rains that Skyrim is known for. Almost. Every book has its merits, if you look at it the right way. I'm sure you've heard of a series of stories about an Argonian maid, yes? Some of my favorite late-night readings. Always sure to keep me warm no matter how cold the night. But, perhaps that is a bit more than you wanted to know, Blades are yours. What is it? I suppose. What is it? What is new? One of my research interests lies in uncovering the history of catfolk in Tamriel and other lands across the world. We have quite a diverse history, but the texts are scattered, so compiling it has been a challenge. Would you care to hear what I found? Alright, let me think. I ran across an old text in Cyrodiil titled only with the number 7. An inauspicious start, but that is why you don't judge a book by its cover. It told of an ancient race of red-furred quadruped cats who lived in the desert canyons of a far-off land. Intelligent beasts, similar to the bomber. The book focused on one such cat, a warrior marked by a scar over his eye from some sort of battle in his past. It was difficult to make out. The writing of the story was quite dated, and at times made little to no sense, so I cannot be entirely sure of many details. I gather this warrior was the last of the species, so these cats must surely be extinct at this point. Still, I found myself strangely drawn to this cat, to his story. I identified with him, though I'd be hard-pressed to tell you why. There was a certain melancholy in him, a sadness underlying his actions. I suppose it must have weighed heavily on him, being so alone in the world. I'm not sure. What is it? Every book has its merits, if you look at it the right way. I'm up for another chat about the Dance and Fire, if you're game, yes? Alright then, which book should we discuss this time? Book 4 then. So, Scotty had just wandered into a camp of Bosmer refugees, fleeing from the Khajiit who had burned their villages down, yes? He joined the refugees as they traveled to a sacred village called Vindisi, but was told he could not enter its temple with them. Too sacred, yes? Instead, Scotty joined a few other non-Bosmer refugees around a campfire, one of whom was a trader in competition for the Valenwood contract. Before long, they heard something around them in the jungle. Scotty and the trader took to the trees to hide, just in time, as it were. The Khajiit had snuck into the village. Scotty and his comrade attempted to escape, but his comrade fell from the tree, breaking his neck. This alerted the Khajiit, but as they were about to attack, a wail from the elves in the temple unleashed a wave of horrid, otherworldly creatures. The Wild Hunt, ravenous, tentacled things with an insatiable hunger for flesh. Everyone in the camp was devoured, Khajiit, elf, and human alike. No, of course not. That would not make for a good end to the story now, would it? He was hidden in the trees and watched as these atrocities unfolded. What few Khajiit managed to escape set off a trap they had rigged, surrounding Vindisi with boulders and preventing the Wild Hunt from escaping. Unrelenting, the Wild Hunt turned their fangs on each other. Before long, quiet descended on the forest again, and Scotty was alone. But that will have to wait for another day, and another book. What is it, my mate? I suppose. What is it? What is new? One of the stranger things I've seen in my travels are humans who wish that they could be animals. And not just animals, but walking, talking animals, by people like Khajiit. Dogs, cats, horses. I cannot understand it. I am proud to be myself, but anyone who has ever read a book should know the pitfalls of being a cat in a land of men and elves. Their prejudices run deep, and their lust for subjugation and dominion over those they perceive as inferior runs even deeper. One day in a Khajiit skin, much less a dog's or a horse's, would show them that. Humans are strange, so blind to what their species is. Do you need something from me? Every book has its merits, if you look at it right. Have you read Azir Trajizeri, written by my Khajiit brethren in the Renrijra Cream? A mixed bag of advice when taken as a whole, but I personally am fond of the third tenet of the manifesto. Quite fond.